You cannot raise your consciousness by meditating or just thinking about it, thinking positive thoughts, regulating your emotions. None of that will do this for you. There's a whole lot of distortions and mistruths out there on this topic, and today I'm going to share the 3 actual steps you need to take to be able to raise your consciousness, and you can start them today. The first thing you need to do is make sure that your personal frequency is at 1 million bioenergy units or above that point. The reason for this is you need to be able to connect with your divine aspect, your inner knowing, higher consciousness, whatever you call it. You need to be able to be connected and follow their guidance. And you can't do that if your frequency isn't at least 1 million. So that's your first goal. And I have a great training and a resource with the chart of the human emotion scale included in the show notes. So be sure to grab that before you leave me. After you ensure that your frequency is high enough at that 1 million point or above, you need to hone the skill of developing your connection, your communication with your divine aspect. Again, some people call that their higher self or their inner wisdom or inner knowing. It's that part of you that's with you your entire life that is connected with God or source energy. Your divine aspect is your internal guidance system. It's there to guide you your whole life, but most of us don't listen to it. And you may not at this point be able to connect with it. So after you get your frequency up, you want to develop the skill of receiving communication from your divine aspect, because it's just a skill. Some people call it channeling or developing your sixth sense, but all of that means the same thing, and it's receiving communication from the divine. So you want to develop that skill because it's available to you, and most people are not taking advantage of it. And this is how we know we're making the right decisions and taking the right actions at the right time. This is our internal GPS, your compass through life. You want to connect with that. And then the third thing you want to do is continue to work toward raising your frequency. You want to get to your highest ascension point, which is that frequency that you were meant to get to in this lifetime, and that is 500 million bioenergy units. And I know that sounds really high, but once you start working on your frequency, you can actually get there fairly quickly, but you need to be intentional about it. 500 million is the frequency of joy. And doesn't that sound delightful to be in resonance with? When your frequency rises, not only does it become easier to connect with your divine aspect, but it becomes easier to regulate your emotions and stay in harmony with the emotions that you're in resonance with, which are the more pleasant emotions at the higher frequencies. Happiness, joy, love, all of those emotions that we would like to feel more often are available to you and become easier to experience and hold on to for longer periods as your frequency raises. So that's a really important thing for you to get intentional about to make this all happen. Now, how does that circle back to raising your consciousness? Because if you were keeping score, that was all 3 points I was going to share with you. But here's the thing. Once you get to your highest ascension point, your inner wisdom or higher self is going to raise your consciousness. It's not something that you can do. Your inner wisdom will do it for you once you work on your frequency and get to where you need to get to. To reiterate the reason you want to take this journey and raise your consciousness, the definition, when we talk about raising consciousness, we're talking about your conscious awareness and becoming more aware of your divine aspect, your relationship and closeness with divinity. And as your consciousness raises and you go into resonance with your consciousness in those higher frequency levels, you will experience more joy and you'll hold it for longer periods. That is the transcendent joy that everyone talks about. That is what the Buddhists talk about when they talk about reaching nirvana. Transcendent joy, it's available to you now, but first you need to raise your frequency. So again, I've got a great training for you to help you do that. And this is something we work on consistently as part of the Rising Tide community. It's a very low point of entry. I encourage you to check it out and join us on some of those group calls, coaching and training sessions, as well as all of the resources available through the portal. And you're probably thinking, well, that all sounds great, but how do I develop this inner wisdom you keep talking about? I've got a great training coming up soon where we're going to be covering this in more detail. So don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you there.